And welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 208 for Wednesday, March 25th. Oh, wait. No, it's not Wednesday. It's Thursday. Thursday, March 25th. We're a day late, but what happened yesterday?
You flew in?
Oh, yeah. I was out of town. That's right. God, it's been such a long week. I'm Max Morgan. This is ItsMyANgel. How are you doing?
I'm tired.
You're tired.
That's what I always say.
It's kind of a running thing.
Yeah.
One of these times you got to be like, I'm not tired. Woo! No, that's one time.
When the baby sleeps through the night,
then
maybe that will happen.
Okay. I think you still said that even though we didn't have Sawyer. Even before Sawyer, I think you still said I'm tired.
Know. Well, I was pregnant for a while.
You're just always pregnant. After Eli, you're just like, I'm pregnant.
No. I don't know. Kids make you tired.
True that. Well, welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. We are a video game show. We talk about video games. We talk about movies, all sorts of stuff that just kind of entertains us. We make some jokes along the way. We try to have a good time. And yeah, so I'm glad you guys are here. If you're watching on Twitch, .tv/72DPI, DPI online, we really appreciate it. Those of you watching on Facebook, you guys rock. If you want to join in the conversation, head on over to the Twitch channel. The link is in the description. For those of you that are watching in the future on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/72DPI online, we really appreciate you guys too. So outstanding audience. We really appreciate it. So before we get into the top three, kind of want to touch on what we've been up to. Would you like to start?
I don't think I've been up to anything.
Well, you watched the kids for 3 days by yourself.
And
you're still alive. The house is not burnt down.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
It is. Although, I mean, to be honest, you work until almost bedtime.
Oh, so you're saying I don't help out at all?
I'm not saying you don't.
You watch the kids 24/7?
For the most part, the kid stuff.
Tread lightly. I could stop doing things.
You do household. You help me with household stuff.
I do the laundry. I'm the bitch. I do the laundry and the dishes. I don't do the cooking though, just the cleaning. Oh my god, the dogs today tore up the garbage. Apparently there was some moldy bread or something going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was it?
Hot dog buns.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever it was. Gladys was definitely in it, and thank God she has like a stomach like a rock. She will be able to pass that shit like nothing else.
Oh.
Gross, right? Let's talk about dog poop.
Yeah, right? Like, what
what have we become?
What are you doing?
Ball and Chain Podcast, where we talk about poop.
That's wonderful.
Anyway,
Podcast is gone.
Oh, crap. Literally. Anyway, I was in Boston and New Hampshire past couple days. For work, I went to a Comcast call center and got to see how they operate and see if I can't take back some of their best practices to our call center and see what we can do to improve our results and all that stuff. So I was floored. Like, top of the line, awesome. It was a brand new facility. Like, it was top notch.
Awesome.
Like, if they had an application, I would have filled it out.
To New Hampshire.
No, not even that. I would have filled out the application. I would have called you, like, figure it out.
Yeah, thanks.
But no, it's really cool. I was excited. Got to go down there for a couple days. While I was down there, I didn't get to sightsee at all because we were super busy. And when you travel, like a whole day of traveling, and then you work for 12 hours, and then you got to wake up the next morning and work for a couple more hours and then travel for the rest of the day. It's like you don't have a lot of time.
No.
I kind of wish they'd let us take like, hey, would you like to take a vacation day during this whole thing and maybe go do some sightseeing? I would definitely take advantage of that. Obviously, they would make you pay for like the room or whatever.
For that one night.
Yeah, but I mean, you're already flying there. you're already flying back, so they're already paying for that stuff. But I don't know. But I did get to I took my Walking Dead book.
Hit DM one.
Yeah, the first collection with me. Didn't get a chance to read it on the way down or up, over, out. I didn't. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I didn't get a chance to read it on my way out because I was surrounded by people the whole time, and it was hard to even breathe. But on the way in, or back, I did get a chance to read. I read through quite a bit of it. And if you remember in past podcasts, we've always talked about how we don't like reading comic books. Like, it's just not that fun for us. Like,
I just can't get into. I just can't get into the style of comics.
Yeah, and I was the exact same way. But I powered through it and got through. Like, I've probably read the first 20 pages of this thing multiple times. And I just have not had time to get through it. It didn't capture me or whatever. But I actually got through quite a bit of it. I'm really impressed. I mean, the artwork is kind of. I mean, I don't want to knock it because I would. It's very, very basic. Like, there's no color. It's black and white. But it's very basic, a very stylized type of. It's consistent. So it's obviously meant to be that way. The story is excellent. It's nice seeing the difference between the show and the book. And that's kind of what I set out to do. Is you know what? Before the next series starts, I want to get caught up. I want to read through all the comics. So I'm probably about a third of the way through this first section of comics, and damn, that book is heavy. You get a workout in your forearms holding that thing up. But it does get easier once you start reading through it. So if you haven't read a comic before and you're kind of standoffish about the art style or the
format.
The format, it takes a little getting used to reading from left to right and then
up and down.
Not up and down, and sometimes it's not exactly that. Sometimes you go down to the bottom corner, read that one first, and I found myself reading a couple different panels twice because the conversation didn't quite make sense because of the placement of the bubbles. I imagine a well-read comic person would know where to go with those, the position.
I think comics. So novels gives you things word for word, and you have to create the picture in your head. Comics, they don't give you a lot of. Yes, you get the visuals because the pictures are there for you.
Right.
But as far as speeches, and I think there's a lot of context that you have to. A lot of words you have to create yourself. Because the words aren't there. Right.
Well, it's funny you say that. In some of the panels, there's these huge dialogue trees, and it's interesting that how they position the characters and stuff like that so they can fit all the text on there. But there are some where it's like a wall of text, conversation between two or three people. And I've seen a couple different approaches to where they link the different conversations back and forth with either a stripe from one balloon to the next, and then one is bolder or whatever, so you obviously read that one first or with a little more emphasis. I don't know, it's interesting once you kind of get into it. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. There's definitely some differences in the story,
right?
But do you remember, just out of curiosity, because in the comic book they found a place called
Whitmore Estates.
Whitmore Estates. Is that the same place that Carl found that tub of pudding? Remember when he's sitting on top of the?
I know what you're talking about.
Is that the same place, or did they even give it a name, Whitmore? Because they didn't stay there long. I know they were just there scavenging, but
I think that was in the same town of where they originally started. Wasn't that when? They went back and he found Morgan had gone crazy, and
I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe the Whitmore Estates weren't in. I mean, because it was at the same time when they were talking. Herschel referenced the Whitmore Estates or whatever. So I'm not sure. I don't know. It's just interesting the correlation between the two, the differences between. What's that?
There's not a location really named for it.
No.
It's not a.
It's interesting the correlation between the two. There's a lot more sex. Between the characters.
In the comics.
Yeah. like a lot more like. And Glenn actually, it's funny because Glenn actually starts to feel bad. He's like, man, everyone's starting to pair off, and that's how him and Maggie start talking. And that's how they're like, I don't want to say they're romance because they really haven't got to that point in the book yet, but it's he's like, oh man, everyone's starting to pair off and I'm gonna be the last one out, and I already have nobody, like he doesn't have any family or anything like that, so I don't know. So all right, so let's see here. So let's get into the top 3. So we're going to talk about, or Angel's going to talk about Vampire Diaries.
A little late to the game.
But there's some new stuff coming out, or that's been going on, or something that that you've discovered, and you're like, oh, right, more content.
Just right now, yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to make fun of you for that because they don't glitter.
Okay, so you make fun of me for the glittery vampires, and you make fun of me for the non-glittery vampires.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So no vampires are okay?
No, vampires are okay. Just not the
glittery and not the non-glittery.
No, these guys are a little strange. They're not. I don't know.
You've seen one episode.
No, I inadvertently watched a whole episode last night while I was reading my book.
Okay. What about them is strange?
And I see. Okay, we'll talk about it in a minute. Then we're gonna take a closer look at Prey. I got past the demo portion. I've got some video footage for that, and we'll kind of jump into it a little bit further. Not a full review or anything like that. Just more of our like second thoughts and first impressions and stuff like that. And then we're going to jump into the world of Destiny. We've had some new information come out. So we want to go over that and kind of like where are we now as far as Destiny 2 is planned out. So, we'll start with Vampire Diaries.
All right. Well, you actually were the one who started me watching the show.
I did, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
I guess it was recommended to you by somebody at work.
Yep.
I had never really... I've heard the title, but didn't really know anything about it. Had no real interest in watching it. I think they said because I liked Twilight that I would like. Is that what? They told to you?
Right. They said, "Have you watched Twilight?" And they also referenced Game of Thrones. Really? I don't know why they said that. So far,
there's a lot of character deaths. I don't know.
Like, okay, right.
That might be
people you like die quickly. Oh, sad face.
Although a lot of them come back.
Oh God, in this one, well, that's good. They can always bring people back.
Yes.
Okay.
There's ghosts.
So wait, so there's ghost vampires?
Yeah.
And there's witches, apparently.
And werewolves.
I found out that there's witches. So there's witch. Can there be a witch vampire ghost?
No, because you can't be a witch and an immortal. So if you're a witch and you become a vampire, you lose your magic.
But you can still mind control people.
No.
But what was happening in that club thing where she was like, "Don't scream," and then she like chews on.
She's a vampire. She wasn't a ghost, or she wasn't a witch.
Oh, okay. But she can still control people.
Vampires have the ability to compel people, right? So it's like a form of mind control.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a vampire. Vampires have, and this okay, they don't sparkle like you said.
Sparkle.
But no, they have like super speed, like they can be speedy. I've seen them jump high, like kind of that kind of stuff. And the mind control thing. So, yeah, they can kind of get into your head a little bit too. Like there's a couple instances, and I don't know what conditions have to be right for it, but where someone was sleeping, they were able to get in and influence the person's dreams.
Wow.
Like kind of get into their head.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Does the person have to be unconscious for that to happen, or can they do that I
think so, because the one vampire was dying. A werewolf bite is like an insta kill. Well, they get sick and then they die. Oh. And there's at one point. There's no cure for it. But anyway, so Vampire Diaries, again, I'm late to the game. Started in 2009, it looks like.
You're only 8 years behind. That's okay.
Yeah. Actually, and it just ended.
Or, no, that would, yeah.
It ran for 8 seasons.
That's not bad.
So it just ended March 10th of 2017 was when the series finale ended. It'll be interesting to see. I'm in the the end of the 4th season, I think, right now.
So kind of give us like the elevator pitch. I know it's about vampires, obviously.
Basically, it's set in this little town in Virginia. Teenage girl in high school. Both of her parents have died in a car accident. So she's living with her brother and her aunt. Meets strange newcomer to school who is a vampire.
Didn't they meet in a cemetery? Or no, they met in the school.
They met at school, right?
And then they formally met
time in the cemetery, yeah.
But
who is a vampire? His troubled brother comes along, who obviously creates a lot of trouble, and it's really nonstop. Like,
there's always drama.
There's always like a new bad guy or a new you think they've killed this person, but then there's like a hitch that happens and this person can come back from the dead, or I mean, there's always some kind of crazy something going on.
Okay.
Everybody's kind of supernatural in a way, almost. I mean, there are some normal human people, but you've got a lot of witches, werewolves, vampires, hybrids, because one guy was born a werewolf, however, through magic was created into a vampire. So he tries to create a line of vampire werewolves.
Okay.
Hybrids, yeah.
So, okay, and then I think I remember from
there's some ghosts.
And then I think I remember from the first episode, the town has gone through like a vampire witch hunt before, right? Like there was like a time when this town knows about vampires.
Right. So the brothers that show up, the Salvatore brothers, they lived in this town originally in 1864.
Mm-hmm.
And so back then, their father, and that's why it's called Vampire Diaries, right? So this actually is based off a series of books, which I have not read. But it starts out with them kind of writing in their journals. And there's journals and diaries of people from the 1864, these founding families that have been here in this town for this entire time. And all their generations have continued to live in this town. But they've passed along the knowledge, for the most part, of these supernatural beings that have lived here, and how to go about killing them or finding them.
Right.
One of the guys, Gilbert, he had some inventions he created, like a compass that can help find. Later you find out that really he didn't create jack crap, but the witch enhanced it, so he thought he did. So it worked because it was actually witchcraft and not his invention. But right. You get into vampire hunters, supernatural vampire hunters.
So these are human. Like, wait, hold on. So are they vampires that hunt other vampires, or humans that hunt vampires?
Actually, you get both.
Really?
You get vampires. Further on, I don't remember what season they come in. You get the original vampires, and they're being hunted by their dad, who is a vampire and a vampire hunter, who only feeds on vampires.
Is that by choice?
I think so.
Okay. So he's like
there's
a
also
vegetarian almost.
Then you also start to get into in season, I think 3, what do they call it? The Order of the Five, or they call it the Five, which they're supernatural, but they're vampire hunters. They're not vampires,
right?
But it's been passed down since, I forget what year they said, like the 1200s or something, where there's always these 5 vampire hunters. When one dies, another can be awoken, but there's only ever 5 of them. They have these tattoos that kind of go over their body. It was when they kill another vampire, their tattoo grows, which shows the map of this legendary. Like I said, it's just
so
constant.
their tattoo's a map?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
and a spell to awaken this ancient 2,000-year-old vampire guy.
It sounds like they're like, we want this to be everything just in case we get stuck and we can go somewhere with it. Like,
I mean, there's just, like I said, it's just constant. Like, there's just always new bad guys, new something's just never, like, nothing's calm. Like,
right.
it's, yeah. And just found out, because I was wikiing some information before the podcast, that in 2013 they had a spinoff called The Originals, based off the original family of vampires.
Oh, was it back in the, what'd you say, 1800s?
Actually, it occurs now.
Oh.
The show, and actually there was one episode that I just recently watched from season 4, I believe. And I wasn't super keen on it, but Klaus, who's one of the original brothers, goes to New Orleans. I'm not going to share really the reason why, but he goes there, and then apparently this spinoff is based off of what he's doing in New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
And what he needs to do. Because I wasn't super in love with that episode.
So does he, like in Vampire Diaries, the show, they just show him departing and they don't tell you where, they tell you why he's going, but they don't explain to you what's going on?
No, you see him and where he goes and what he's doing there.
So what's the spinoff about? Just like more in depth?
Apparently they don't really, I guess they don't go back and follow more of what's going on. I don't know.
Okay, so
it looks like they kind
off.
of, yeah. But again, I'm not really certain because I haven't watched much past this break-off point.
Oh, okay.
But it's almost like, yeah, they took this and they said, oh, this is a lot of information and a lot of stuff going on here, and really it's so separate from what's going on here. Right. Let's make a new show out of it.
Right.
It's kind of, it seemed like what they did. And that show is actually still going on. It started in 2013, and they just got renewed for a 5th season.
Talk about a finite amount of like material you have there, because I'm assuming he comes back, so like he can only be gone for so long. Like in the lore, like as if he's gone, if he leaves on a Monday in Vampire Diaries and comes back on a Wednesday in Vampire Diaries.
Well, but he wants to take over. Like he goes to New Orleans, which his family originally founded or helped found New Orleans. But he goes back. There was like a protege person that he kind of trained down there who had, and you find this all out in this episode in Vampire Diaries, but he has taken over New Orleans. He's a vampire, but he is lording something over, we don't know exactly how, controlling all of the magic in the city. So they've ran out the werewolves. They're controlling the witches, so the witches can only practice certain types of witchcraft in certain places. And so they've taken over the city. Come to find out, vampires, this is something you hear earlier on, but vampires cannot have children, like physically cannot produce babies. But you find out that he got a girl pregnant. She's a werewolf. He's also part werewolf, so the werewolf part apparently overrides the vampire. I don't know. And this is the first time this has happened, and he's like 1,000 years old. Anyway,
still got it going on, bouncy.
Right. So he goes to New Orleans and wants to take over the city and become like king there. Like he wants to take over from this Marcel guy. So that's what this Originals apparently is about. That family goes back to New Orleans and tries to take over. Haven't seen any of it yet. Because I literally
I wonder if it's
5
on
minutes
Netflix.
ago found out about it. I don't know. It may be. The other interesting thing is going to be the main character that this Vampire Diaries follows. Elena, she decided to call it quits after the 6th season. So season 7 and season 8, she's not in the show.
Oh, so they're going to have to do they kill her off or do they recast her?
I don't know. Oh, they didn't recast her.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what they do with her. I did hear that I think she may have gone back for the series finale. Just for an episode or two. I'm not really certain. Again, I haven't watched it yet, but it'll be interesting to see what direction they take the show, because it's kind of been all about her. Right. And which brother she's falling for and all that kind of stuff. So
So far you enjoy the series. I mean,
yeah, we watched the first episode and I was like, it's super
pretty
cheesy,
corny,
and
right.
I was like,
well, I think it was because it practically was the first movie of Twilight, right? Like,
it felt very similar.
I mean, you've got high school kids, high school setting, vampire
human falling in love with vampire,
vampire walk around at night, which they use a magic ring
day.
or whatever day, instead of how did the Twilight vampires not sparkle? Was it just because it was overcast?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they went camping as a family or whatever when it was a sunny day. Like, they didn't go to school.
Oh, so they must have missed a lot of school.
They lived in Washington where it's like super rainy. That's why they were there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah, but here like in this world, vampires do burn in the sun, but they're able to be daywalkers because they have
Magic
a witch
rings
on their side that made these rings, or some of them have other jewelry. I think somebody has a necklace or something that's been spelled to allow them to walk in the day.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let's talk about Prey. So, we talked a little bit about it last episode. Maybe. Is it going to start? There it goes. So I got some video recording of screenshots or screen captures of me playing Prey. This is after the demo, slightly after, like very soon after. This game, like, surprised me. Like, legitimately surprised me. The demo is terrible. Definitely is not a good look for the game itself. I don't know. Like, I'm always a advocate for having demos for games. That way you can try them out and see if you like them and stuff like that. But I feel like the team. I apologize. I don't have the developer in front of me. They just like kind of like, oh, all right, we'll just give them the first hour, and that'll tell them if they like it or not. And to be honest with you, it really wasn't that good. Like, you got a little bit of everything, but you really didn't really get enough to say, you know what, I do want to play more of that. So the story gets much better. There's some betrayal going on within your family. There's like this huge evil plan that's you uncover and unveil, and this is all within the first 30 minutes after the demo. Shit kind of goes south after you kind of figure out what's the main points of what's going on. But the story gets, like I said, the story gets much better. The skill trees, like, you actually can get skill point, more skill points within the first hour, or within the first hour after the demo. It kind of shapes the way you play the game. It's kind of, I mean, it's a lot like BioShock, where you can like hack turrets and get past security cams and doors and things like that. You can, beef up your guy, like, take less damage or not take less damage, up your health. You can, do a whole bunch of different attributes and kind of play as you want through these skill trees. There's not a ton of options. I would say, there's 3 different categories you can go through, but it's it just helps you kind of play the way you want. The weapons are much better. You get more use out of the weapons, I guess. So, like, for instance, this goo gun, in the demo, all you use it for is to kind of like suspend enemies. Like, you shoot an enemy and he like freezes, right? But what the actual game wants you to do with this gun is it wants you to, shoot this at a gas leak where there's, flames shooting out of this gas leak or whatever, and it stops the gas, so then you can pass through the doorway or the hallway or whatever. If there's like a electrical panel that's been busted open and there's wires hanging down, there's electricity shooting all over the place, you can't walk through there without dying. So if you use the goo gun to you shoot it, and it kind of stops the electrical field or whatever, and you can pass through. So there's a lot of environmental effects that you can, subdue with this gun that's not anywhere in the demo, right? So the demo is like, hey, here's this gun that you can shoot. It'll freeze the guy, and then you can pull out your wrench and run out of the whack him. Like, okay, great. And in the demo, all you're fighting is a little spider thing, so you can freeze them and then go up and hit them 3 times, or you can just go up and hit them 3 times. So it's not like there really isn't a purpose to doing it, right? But the other cool thing is you can use the goo gun or goo cannon or whatever to traverse the levels, right? So each puzzle or each room has like a puzzle or whatever, and if there's a locked door, you either need to find the key or disable the door, or in some cases there's like a secret hatch somewhere that will get you up and around or whatever. So in most cases the secret hatch is up high or in the ceiling, and you can use the goo cannon to kind of shoot like stepping stones up to where you need to go, so you'll actually crawl up and platform up to these secret areas or whatever. None of that stuff is in the demo. And I feel like that is a huge part of the game, because you're like, you know what, I want to play this I want to be stealth. I don't want to, get seen by all these robots or the phantoms or whatever they're called. Like, I want to, go about my business or whatever, and play this way. It's just something that I feel like should be included in the demo. So like, if they would have given you like the first 2 hours of the game, you would have got so much more. Yeah, it would have spoiled the story for you, but, at that point you're like, maybe we should put one of those puzzles in the first hour. So, I don't know. Or just make a demo just for the game. I don't know. I feel like it's very lackluster. There's also this really cool part coming up in the video where you get to go in 0G, which is really sweet. You get to upgrade your suit and kind of go through and oh, it's not here. If you do go out there, I wouldn't stray far. The typhon may have spread to the anyway, you get to go in 0G because like they've blown out part of the space station, and like everything is kind of gone in space, and you gotta get this guy's key card or whatever. So you gotta go out the airlock and back around into the the blown out laboratory. So a lot of really cool game mechanics. The enemies become much more intelligent and interesting. So, and the thing is, they don't play the same. So, like, I'm playing it on hard, right? So there's it's extremely difficult, like, to say the very least. Like, as soon as a bad guy sees you and he's on top of you, it's game over. There's not enough health to keep you alive through a couple of these battles. Like, you have to literally kill the bad guys before they kill you, otherwise or hurt you. Because if they hurt you, you're pretty much done. So, I guess what I'm getting at is the intelligent level, the AI in the game is very smart, and you can see that they're walking certain patterns and stuff like that in the different rooms, and if they hear you or spot you or whatever, they'll come in your direction. So it's interesting to see the different characters. So like the phantoms are like the humanoid looking squiggly guys, and they're a little bit tougher. You actually have to use the goo gun to freeze them, otherwise they shoot this like laser orange sunbeam thing at you and you die instantaneously. But yeah, I mean, overall, just it's much better game than the demo leads on. If I was you guys and you played the demo and didn't like it, I would implore you to go out, rent the game for a day. You just need it for a day, and play it for an extra 2 hours, extra hour even. Obviously, you'll have to start over because your demo save, believe it or not, does not continue on with the game, which is completely dumb.
That stinks, yeah.
That
if
is
you're already
dumb.
Playing the first hour of the game, they might as well just let you continue it on.
It's the exact same thing, that's even dumber, right? I just played the worst part of your game, and you're going to make me play it again?
Yeah.
Like, come on. So, go out, play it again. At least you know now where to go, so it's not really like an hour of the game. You can kind of burn through it pretty quickly. So yeah, so Prey 2 or Prey, whatever you want to call it, much better game than the demo leads on. So
good.
Is it worth $60? You'll probably put quite a bit of time into it. I've heard the campaign's fairly long. It's just a single player campaign, but the replay value is there. You can play it a couple different ways. There's multiple difficulties. So yeah, definitely recommend it. All right, so let's switch gears and talk about Destiny 2. Yeah?
Sure.
Sure. So, a couple months ago, rather, Bungie, back in May, or March, we're in May now, back in March, Bungie put out a post on their website talking about, it was titled The Road Ahead. And in there, this is like kind of the big reveal where everybody kind of found out that, or they announced for the first time that you're not going to be able to bring your saved character over from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. Your likeness, that will carry over, but your skills, your weapons, all that stuff does not come with you. Which is kind of sad, but they did say, sequels represent a start of a new adventure for every player with new worlds. So Games Radar ran a poll about the same time, asking people, were they upset about the change or were they happy with the change? And it was interesting because, with as much backlash as Bungie got, and through their forums, through their Twitter feed, the Games Radar poll said that 61% of their viewers were happy to start over. There's 39 they wanted their gear and their progress and all that stuff. So I mean, to you, like, for you personally, I know we put a little bit of time. I mean, we maxed out our characters in Crota, in the Crota raid. I think that's about as far as we got. We didn't do like House of Wolves.
Yeah.
But
so I know we're way behind a lot of other people.
Right, but do you feel like, I put that much time in that character, I want my stuff? Or you just like, let's just start a new character, kind of re-roll.
Especially since, like I said, there's a lot that we didn't do on it.
Right.
So yeah, I'm happy to start on the even playing field.
Yeah. And I think it gives them, Bungie, an opportunity to kind of rework some of their things that they, let's face it, but Halo, I keep saying Halo, Destiny 1 was not a good game right out of the gate. Like, the storytelling was garbage. Like, the combat was fun. I mean, that was fantastic. But, like, why are we here shooting these people? I don't know. They have things that we need to pick up. Like, we kill one, they drop this thing, I pick it up and take it back, and, I finish the thing. So, one of the things, there's a website, windowscentral.com/Destiny2 did an excellent job putting together all of these new Bungie announcements for Destiny 2, and one of them was the story. The story behind Destiny 2 is this takes place shortly after the first game. There's a Cabal faction that is attacking Earth, the tower, the last city of on Earth, or civilized city at least. They actually take down the tower. They're looking to capture the Traveler, the big orb in the sky, and use its power or something like that. I don't know. So they eventually take down the tower, and the Guardians all split up and go to different sections of the universe or whatever. So it's all about your character coming back, your character coming back from the ashes of defeat, and rising up and trying to take down this Cabal Lord, and taking back the tower. So Bungie released a trailer, super, it's all pre-rendered. There's some combat video in there and stuff like that. You can pretty much search it on iTunes on YouTube and find it. But in there's a whole bunch of different worlds. Bungie announced that they're bringing the same planets back, but you're also going to be able to travel to a couple different moons on these different places. So like there's like the Titan moon of Saturn or whatever. That's where the Titan Guardian goes. So obviously, I'm assuming if you start out as a Titan, that's where you're going to go. So it's very more so of an RPG or an MMO, where if you start out as a Blood Elf in WoW, you start out with all the Blood Elves.
Right.
And if you start out as a Druid or whatever, you start out with all the Druids or what, you know what I mean? Like there's they're
A little more depends on there's more writing on your class and things like that than just, oh, you can have this gear.
right, exactly. So they talked about how there's going to be more story elements, more story-driven cutscenes, more character interaction. So believe it or not, the 3 characters that were in Destiny 1, those main characters are carrying over into Destiny 2. And those are like the 3 like people that you're going to be working with again, but they're going to have more of an impact on the story and more story interaction and stuff like that. Let's see here. So that's really the story upgrades. We talked about the new planets and how you're gonna be able to travel to these different worlds, and then the moons and stuff like that. There's like I think they talked about a Vex planet with like all the robot world's been like inhabited by the Vex. So that's pretty sweet. New skills. So it hasn't been announced, but it hasn't been announced that the old skills are coming back. But the way they brought up these new skills, it kind of makes it sound like it's going to. So you're going to have the solar class or whatever subclass was missing from the original set. You're going to have new sets of those to fill out your tree with. There was an interview, I believe, with I think it was either IGN or I think it was IGN, where they were talking about how they were asking if they were going to be getting rid of some of the lackluster nodes in the skill tree. And basically, I mean, the short answer is you really can't have everything be awesome, right? Like there's just then nothing's fun. Right, you got to have different nodes for different play styles, and that's kind of what their answer was. Like, there's going to be a node for every play style. Whether you like the shotgun or you're looking to regen your party or whatever the case may be. So it sounds like they're taking a little bit more from like an MMO perspective, and not just like, okay, how do I make the most damage, with this type of gun all the time? Like they're thinking about like, okay, am I going to be the healer? Am I going to be like the tank, or am I going to be like the range combat person? Stuff like that. So should be interesting. And then the last thing they talked about was the weapons are going to get a significant change. So before you could have like a primary weapon, like a assault rifle or like a carbine or like a battle rifle or whatever. You could have a sniper rifle, rocket launcher, and shotgun, stuff like that, and then like a sidearm, like a pistol or whatever. So they're going to be going to like kinetic weapons. So those are going to be like your pistols, your kind of like your sidearms, like your pistols, your shotguns, and things like that. Then you're going to have your energy weapons. So those are going to be like anything that's got like is energy based. So these are going to be like your power weapons and things like that. And then they're going to actually have a power weapon. So these are sniper rifles and rocket launchers and things like that. So the biggest change that was noted online was, okay, so now I can't have a rocket launcher and a sniper rifle equipped anymore, where I could before. Now I can't. So it is a little disheartening there, but I think I don't know. It might be a welcome change. They might be able to do a little bit more, like make a little bit more powerful weapons in each of the classes. So we don't know. We'll see. But that's kind of where we sit with Destiny. You know, what are your thoughts so far? You looking forward to it?
Sure.
Sure.
I have time. I just don't have time anymore. But we'll see.
We will. We will see. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the first one was, with all its
fun when we got to play. When we had good groups of people we played with, and it was enjoyable when we could get on and spend an hour or two doing
right.
It was fun. So we'll see.
I don't know. And I think, the other thing that I enjoy about Destiny is you can play with up to 3 people in your squad or whatever. So if you play with 2 people, it's a little challenging, but I think it's, I like a little bit of a challenge. So if you can find that third person, great. If not, then, you got your work cut out for you. So I'm looking forward to it. I know we're going to be doing a Destiny release, which it comes out on a Friday this go around, which is interesting. Usually Xbox games, obviously since it's multi-platform, it's not just Xbox. But and we also know that the PC version is not coming out right away. It's going to be later. So I gotta sneeze. Maybe not. So, anyway. So that's, do you have anything else you want to talk about? No. Well, that was episode 208, guys. Thanks for watching. We really do appreciate it.
One of these days I may not be sleepy.
One of these days.
That'll be amazing. We need a podcast at like 9 a.m. and I'd be good to go.
I work at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
I'm at work. Can I podcast from work?
I don't know, can you?
I don't know. Never tried. So thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, if you watched us on twitch.tv/72DPI online, I really do appreciate it. Leave us a comment. Facebook Live, you guys are great. Do me a favor, though. Head over to our YouTube page, youtube.com/72DPI online. Leave a comment on the video. Hit the thumbs up button. Get subscribed to the channel so you can see when the episodes go live. So if you do happen to miss them, the live stream, you can catch them back on the replay on our YouTube page. It's just a great way to help out the channel. It's free. Doesn't cost you a dime. However, if you would like to give us that dime so it can help us keep our light on, we would appreciate that. And you can head over to patreon.com/72DPI, become a patron, and for as little as $1 a month, help us pay the energy bill, keep the lights on, maybe upgrade the equipment from time to time. Our mic stands are kind of falling apart. And, it's just a great way to help us out. So, all right, guys, have a great week, and we will see you back here next Wednesday. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.